Hi, I'm Jack Davis. Welcome to another episode of The Zone. Joining me this week, my buddy Jake Smith. One guest today, so we're going to kind of do more of a PTI type thing instead of a three. You know, we don't need a three. We just need you and me.
That's all we need.
I think we have enough of a connection to carry anything.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah. We have a great connection on the basketball court, too. If you ever want to get some mean 2-on-2 going at Pacific Design Center, make sure to seek out me and Jake. But this week, the first thing we want to talk about is Tom Brady. Obviously, a historic quarterback, first ballot Hall of Famer. And as the NFL has slowly transitioned away from all the scandal and they've gotten what they want and we're just back to talking football, Tom Brady, terrible performance against the Chiefs. After a questionable performance in the AFC Championship game last year, people are starting to ask, is Brady done? Where do you stand, Jake?
I don't think he's done, but I don't think he's in that elite level of quarterbacks that he's been in for the past decade now. The thing is about him, he's smart, he's going to work hard, and he's an ultimate competitor. And you're not going to take any of that away from him. But when you can't protect him, it's very hard to be effective as a quarterback or a team for that matter.
Mm-hmm. I mean, now they also got a lot of press because Brady was replaced in the end of the game against Kansas City by the backup quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, and didn't shake his hand after Jimmy had a touchdown, seemed very upset on the bench. You went to Arizona, a very high competitive environment, and played football. What's it like when there's competition at positions? And is there a reason why someone like Brady, who's been established, and now Garoppolo's not a threat to him necessarily, but it's competition. And do you see that where people want to support their backups, or what's that competition like between positions?
It can be very interesting, depending on kind of the dynamic. So like you said, Garoppolo may not be a threat right now.
But he sees what's coming.
Brady knows his days are numbered. He knows that. So for him to go in, Brady does not want to get taken out. He doesn't care if, you're trying to protect him. He does not care. He wants to play. And I respect the hell out of him for it. I may not like him because I don't like the Patriots, but I respect the hell out of him. So when a guy is replacing someone else, how would you feel if somebody goes, we don't really need you on the show today, so we're just going to replace you with somebody who wants to be you? You're not going to be that guy's best friend. You know what I mean? It's almost fake.
If they replace me with you, we're still friends, just so you know. But keep going.
But in all honesty, like, for you to go out and pretend you guys are best friends when that person is really trying to take your job.
So what was that like? Like, I'm sure, again, college, there's way more change in positions, right? Yeah. So what was that? I mean, did you, without naming names, what did you see position battles like that? How was it? I mean, I'm sure you've went through position battles yourself.
Yeah. So I've always had a very good relationship with the guys I was competing with. I never felt threatened because I know that at my position, if I do what I'm supposed to do, I don't give the coaches a choice. If I don't miss, they have to play me. Mm-hmm. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it because
there's less qualitative decision making and kicking.
Exactly. But like for a lineman, they can get testy. There's been some fights and things like that. But in reality, when it comes down to it, it's what the coach says, and you got to do your best to make the coach call your number. And if they don't, that's on you, but that can definitely stress relationships, stress different rooms in the film room and in the locker room even. So it's an interesting dynamic for sure.
So it's funny you say that because it's on you to get the coach's approval. This is a situation in New England where maybe it's Bill Belichick's fault that Tom Brady doesn't have the options to go to. So the Patriots, I mean, they've been a powerhouse. You can't knock Belichick. Dynasty. Dynasty. Even though they haven't won a Super Bowl in 2004, they've been competitors. They've made it to 2, multiple AFC championship games. Do you think the situation now is more Brady's fault, or is it more Belichick?
So I think a very interesting thing when you talk about both of those guys is the mental aspect. So Tom Brady was passed over when he was playing at Michigan, let alone in the draft when 6 guys went before him. So he's always had that giant chip on his shoulder, whether he's the highest paid quarterback in the league, has the hottest girl on his arm, doesn't really matter. He always has a chip on his shoulder, and that's what makes him him. But if you talk about Belichick is a guy that just thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. Mm-hmm. No matter what room he was in, he could be in the room with the smartest people in the world. He thinks he's smarter. Now, with their success, you can say, okay, well, maybe you're right. Mm-hmm. But when you trade away your Pro Bowl left tackle, who's supposed to protect your golden pony in Tom Brady a week before the season starts, what does that say? You got to take the coach and the GM, and in my eyes, I think you have to separate them. Because a coach's job is to win right now. A GM's job is to put the best team on the field now and stock for the future. So I don't know if those really can be intertwined the way they should be. I mean, take Holmgren when he was in Seattle. He was both, and then when he relinquished the GM job, they went
to the Super Bowl. They took
exactly.
off right away.
So I think that could be a situation that could happen in New England while Tom Brady's still playing quarterback. Because personally, I don't think Garoppolo is the answer, but we haven't seen enough of him to find out.
I think Brady's days are numbered.
They absolutely are.
I mean, I think this is the year of his downfall. I mean, he's a great quarterback, obviously one of the best ever. And what is it, like legends die hard? Or no, it's tough to see a legend have to not exit on his own terms. So rarely do we see athletes exit on their own terms, exit on top. I mean, look what's happening with Kobe in LA right now, right? But I think this year the Patriots don't make the playoffs. I think Brady continues to have a mediocre year. And I don't want to say he's not starting next year, but maybe by the middle of next year, I think we could see a new quarterback in New England.
Here's the thing. We're in week 4. The AFC East is by far the worst.
I love to jump to conclusions, though. I want to just make huge assessments for the future right now in every area of my life, not just sports.
The AFC East is the worst division in football. They're atrocious.
But that's what's going to make it even worse if New England somehow loses to Buffalo or Miami.
I'm with you.
Which is possible.
They could. I honestly think if they win 8 games, 9 games, I think gets them in the playoffs. So
but the standard there isn't playoffs. The standard there is, so if they win 9 games and get blown out in the first round, it might as well miss the playoffs.
I agree with you on that, but once you're in the playoffs, you have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
No idea.
That's true. So we're talking about mismanagement, and obviously Bill Belichick might not have managed the situation in New England perfectly. And even though in New England, Belichick is coach and GM, that's somewhat similar to college, where the coaches hold out all the power because not only are they coaching the team on the field, but the head coach in college recruits all the future players who'll be there for the next 4 years, so in a sense is the GM. And tonight we have a huge game. Jake is obviously a U of A alum, hashtag bear down all the time. Tonight's big game against Oregon, and we've seen Rich Rodriguez have great success. Last year you guys had a great year. You're wearing a beautiful ring to signify that. 5-0 this year so far? Or is it 4-0 or 5-0?
Both teams are 4-0.
Both teams are 4-0. This year, Arizona's, so I thought they've won 5 games so far. They've won 4?
Correct.
Okay, Arizona's 4-0. Meanwhile, Rich Rod, who used to be at Michigan, replaced by Brady Hoke, the only year Brady Hoke's ever won was with Rich Rod's players, and Brady Hoke embroiled in controversy because putting Shane Morris back into the game after he had a concussion. Where do you stand? I mean, what is it like for you as a former player to see, we talked just now about Belichick, how the problems from the top trickle down. What's that like with a college coach who's got full control of a program?
A program is a reflection of their coach at the college ranks. It doesn't matter if you are playing for a guy like Coach Rod, who is very intense, that the entire program embodies his mentality. And that's been the same ever since I was a freshman at Syracuse.
So you're a big fan of Rich Rod at Arizona?
I think he's
you played for him, you love him.
I think he's a top 5 coach in the country. Now, does that mean that we
top 5 in the country?
Absolutely.
Say that again.
He's a top 5 coach in the country.
We're going to post this on all the Arizona message boards. And you, Jake Smith, former player, think he's a top 5 coach in the country.
He is a top. Look at the numbers. He's a top 5 coach in the country. We'll talk about that. But
I think Dave Cutcliffe at Duke's a better coach, but we'll save that for later.
That's a stretch.
We'll save that for later. Keep going.
But in reality, I played for Doug Marrone, who's the coach of the Bills now, and it was a very professional environment at Syracuse. It was not. We didn't even know if he knew our names. So it created a different aura around the program. We were not successful at all. Now, Coach Rod really preaches family, and he acts on it too. So you go to your coach's house for dinner. You're close with your coaches. The coaches are all close together. They're best friends. Their wives are friends. Their kids are friends. It's a great environment to be in. And now that said, he has complete power. So if somebody's suspended, it's him. Recruiting, he makes the final call. Play calling, he makes the final call. So when you talk about somebody that is in control, that is a head coach of a college football program.
A coach at a college football program is like a GM. They're like an owner, GM, and coach.
Exactly.
Almost. Yeah.
It's even more because it's discipline too. So it goes from everything from personnel to playing time to
future
discipline
recruits, to the system to assistants.
Absolutely.
So why do you think Rich Rod wasn't successful in Michigan?
So first off, you have to give coaches time. If you are truly going to invest in a coach, especially if you know that they're going to bring in a new system, you have to give a coach time. Now, if you just promote an assistant and you have the same personnel and the same system and everything like that, then okay. 3 years, if you're not winning with the same people, same system, all that, then that's fine. But you went from a smash mouth, classic Big Ten pro style team to trying to spread it out. it's not as simple as putting players in different positions. You need different players. It's all about personnel. So if you don't have the guys to run a 3-3-5, which you still don't have in your 4th year as a head coach, switching from either a 3-4 or 4-3 to a 3-3-5, it's almost impossible to play defense. So that's a constant struggle to get the speed around the ball and things like that. So, but as you saw, what would have been his 4th year, Michigan won
11
the Sugar Bowl.
games.
Yeah.
The only year in which Brady Hoke has had a successful season at Michigan when he took home a BCS bowl game was with Rich Rod's players.
Exactly.
And obviously, you've never played for Brady Hoke. You don't know him. We don't want to, make any personal shots at Brady. But when you see a situation happen, like did this past weekend at Michigan, where Shane Morris is clearly concussed and he gets put back in the game, what effect does that have on a locker room when a coach makes a mistake like that and puts a player's, health at risk?
So I think I have an interesting perspective on that due to the lawsuit, because a lot of the reason that I joined the lawsuit was.
And then just a quick reminder for anyone watching who hasn't watched before, Jake was one of the first members of the lawsuit against the NCAA to give more rights for players in the Ed O'Bannon lawsuit. But continue.
So one of the major reasons I joined the lawsuit was to protect future guys, and brain injuries and head trauma is the most serious there is. They just came out with a report that 72 out of 76 former players that a doctor examined all had signs of CTE.
72 out of 76.
It's an insanely high number.
So basically, if you're not having head trauma playing college football, you're a statistical anomaly.
Correct.
Amazing.
So that's kind of the craziest part. So when you put a guy in on that kind of stage, people are going to look at you. Especially if you think he's just going in for a play because Gardner's helmet comes off, throw in the 3rd-string quarterback, hand the ball off. Because for a coach to put a player at risk like that is completely unacceptable. And in a locker room, everybody's come out to support him. They're
obviously going to take a public line. They don't make money. They're university students. They have really no choice.
They're all saying the right thing. Now in the locker room, you're going to start hearing whispers. Well, his job's on the line. He's going to do anything he can to win. It doesn't matter if our health is put at risk. Same thing with the guy that Lane Kiffin forced to play when he was injured. You can't do that as a coach because it's going to eventually come out. And I understand these guys are coaching for their livelihoods, for their jobs and things like that, but you cannot put a player safety.
Does momentum build up in a locker room though? Because one of my favorite sayings in sports is that winning breeds chemistry. Chemistry doesn't breed winning. Now, correct. I think there's various truths in that. I do think a good chemistry can lead to winning. But it is true that it's a lot easier to get along when you're winning. By that same logic, you've been in with losing teams. You've been with winning teams. So you have the full range at the college level. Once it starts to unravel, does it kind of just slowly fall apart piece by piece?
It's not slowly. It's not slowly at all. And the thing is, what you said is absolutely right. Winning solves everything. Winning cures everything. Winning cures people bitching about playing time, things like that. Winning makes you feel better, so it doesn't hurt as bad on Sunday when guys come in, as long as you won. There's 10 times more people. All right, 10 times is too many. There's probably a solid 50% more people in the training room after a loss than after a win. You just feel better. So, and that goes to your morale, everything like that. But when you start losing, people start becoming locker room lawyers. They're like, oh, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. This coach is doing this wrong. Whatever it may be. This person should be playing. They should be calling this. And those little things turn into bigger and bigger things.
How can a situation like Brady Hoke putting in an injured Shane Morris on national TV when he's can hardly walk, how could that maybe spark a fire? Does that just...
Oh, there's going to be guys talking. And most of it will probably be guys that aren't playing. Mostly those are the guys that obviously have the most to complain about. So
anyone who has a grievance against Brady Hoke now has a reason maybe to come up and just get upset?
Brady Hoke is done.
Do you think he lasts through the season?
Purely monetarily, he might, just because they owe him an extra $1 million if they cut him before January 1st. But that's all. Who knows if Brandon's going to be there too, if the AD is going to be there. So,
yeah. When your students are marching against you just because you run sports, it's not a great sign.
It's not a good sign.
Not a good sign.
Not a good sign at all. Brady Hoke's done in Michigan.
But let's talk about something fun. Let's move on to a new subject. You played at Arizona, obviously. Last year, you guys played against Oregon. How'd that go?
We spanked them.
Oh, you spanked Oregon, top team in the country. Tonight, Oregon and Arizona face off again. Oregon undefeated, Arizona undefeated. Arizona unranked, but Oregon ranked as one of the top 5 teams in the country. Now, by the time this episode comes out and you guys are all watching at home, we'll know the result of this game, so maybe you can look either very smart or very stupid. But let's talk about what it's like to play at home, on the road, whatever it may be, in a gigantic college rivalry game on national TV.
There's 2 things. First, there's nothing better than playing in front of your home fans when they're fired up, ready to go. There's nothing like it. Coming out of a tunnel to 60,000 people that are cheering for you, it's crazy. But at the same time, if you silence a crowd, it is the most surreal thing in the world, especially if they go up to Austin and they beat them, whether it's by 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, or a point, and you silence that crowd.
How much do alumni connect? Are you texting your friends still on the team, trying to get them pumped up or see where their heads are at?
If you need a text from a former player to get you pumped up for a game like this,
but I mean, you probably like to connect, right? Still.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're still some of my best friends, and I like to check in with them during the week, not just on game day. I'm sure they get a lot of game day texts.
How fired up are you going to be tonight?
I don't know if I should be watching it with other people.
Yeah, that's how I feel about sports. It's like if you watch sports with me, like if you watch the Dodgers, God forbid the Dodgers make a World Series, don't watch with me because you're gonna hate me. You're gonna think I'm a horrible human being. You're gonna think I'm really unreasonable, that I'm a real like crazy, horrible person.
I get very frustrated if we're like there.
Are we punching things? I'm a big thrower of things.
I hit things.
Hit things?
I like pound.
Because you're strong. I'm like a weak little guy. Like I can't necessarily just like punch through a wall.
Yeah, that'd be bad if I hit a wall.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, silencing a crowd like Austin, and the thing is, when it's a big game, and when it's not. Like this picture is from Cal last year. There's probably they probably had their stadium 60% full. It was a day game.
I think you're being generous when you said their stadium was 60% full.
Probably.
Maybe they sold 60% of the tickets
Probably.
and 40% showed up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Arizona people there, so. But there's a different vibe. There's a different feeling when you walk into a stadium that's packed and loud. There's just this energy there that's really indescribable when you're on the field, when you're in the middle of the field. And it's almost more fun on the road because you can silence people, and there's nothing better than that.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing, but do you have a prediction for tonight? It's funny because this game starts in 3 hours?
Yeah.
This game starts in 3 hours. This episode probably goes up 24 hours after the game finishes or something around then. So you're going to look either really smart or really stupid, but what's your prediction?
Here's the thing. I will never pick against Arizona, ever. I know the guys in that locker room. I know their fight. And is Oregon better on paper? Possibly. They have a ton of injuries in their O-line. If you can get to Mariota early, he tends to struggle, which is what we did last year.
Yeah, tell us actually a little bit more. This is going to be great insight. Tell us a little bit more about what happened last year and how you guys pulled off that shocking upset.
So last year was kind of crazy.
Because that was the team everyone thought that was Oregon's team. This is the team that's going to take them to the national title.
Yeah. So last year was crazy. They returned the first kick. My kickoff 40-something yards. We missed 3 tackles on the first kickoff. And then the first.
Were you a kicker that tried to make the tackles, or was like, hey,
no,
if he gets to me, he's probably gone anyway?
Here's the thing. I made 2 tackles last year. I have terrible form. I tackle way too high. But what makes me feel better is that most of the defensive guys in the entire country can't tackle D'Anthony Thomas either. So I don't feel that bad. You know what I mean?
Quick D'Anthony Thomas story. When I was in high school, I used to run this high school sports site called CaliHighSports.com. It doesn't exist anymore. You can't click on that. And I was like, he had kind of like loafed through his senior year, sort of, because he was the best. It was clear. And then I went on a little like high school sports radio show and said that I think he's kind of overrated. They're going to lose their big rivalry game to Dorsey. He hit 6 touchdowns in the first half. 6 touchdowns in the first half. Anyway, keep going.
How'd you feel about that?
Stupid. Just really. And now I'm going to make you feel stupid with the prediction that you make, but we'll get to the prediction in a second. The prediction will be the last thing we do. Let's hear more about the game.
So first play of them on offense. They're on our side of the field already, our side of the 50. Mariota throws it. I think it was Josh Huff. Just takes his eyes off it, hits his hands. The ball's going out of bounds. Shaq Richardson got drafted by the Steelers. Makes a diving play out of bounds. Throws it midair to our middle linebacker, Scooby Wright. Kid's a stud, by the way. And he returns.
With a name like Scooby, you better be a stud.
Kid's a baller. And I love his Twitter handle. It's 2-star Scoob because he was one of the most overlooked players in the country. But he returns that, and that kind of set the tone for the entire game. Kadeem Carey rushed for 250 and 4 touchdowns. And our quarterback, B.J. Danker, played the game of his life, was sucking people in on fake runs and just dishing it off to our guys. And the thing is, the craziest part about it is our offense is more talented this year than it was last year, even with Kadeem Carey. Truly believe that. Oregon's had problems in their secondary. Our receivers are great this year. I'd argue that they are the best receiving core in the country, top to bottom. And it all depends on how our quarterback plays. Our quarterback is freshman Anu Solomon, first real road test against the second-ranked team in the country. So it's going to be interesting.
So your prediction. Last thing of the show, your prediction. Be bold, because you know at this point people are going to see this after the game.
I know.
Give me an exact score. I want you to really go for it.
I think it's going to be 52-48 Arizona.
52-48 Arizona.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll see what happens.
Not going to be much defense.
Thanks for coming on the show today. I think we killed the two-man game.
I love it.
Two-man game.
Whenever
we
you
should
want.
go out tonight and wingman. I think we keep the two-man momentum working for us.
Down.
Thank you for joining us today, Jake.
Absolutely.
This was another episode of The Zone. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe to the Lip TV. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Or go directly to the Lip TV site and check out episodes of The Zone and all the Lip TV shows at thelip.tv. Follow the Lip TV on Twitter, @theliptv, and on Facebook. Thank you so much.